Hello and welcome to my channel. If you have not been here yet, welcome, and if you've already been here, welcome back. So we'll be talking about some astrology for the month of September and October of this year, 2022, and I went ahead and did some charting, and I'm going to attempt to do some horoscopes. And there will also be a tarot reading towards the end, so if you do want to skip straight to the reading or straight to the horoscopes, I'll timestamp everything in the description box below if you want to skip ahead to anything. So the main highlights of September, October are, on the 9th of this month in September, Mercury goes into retrograde in the sign of Libra. We also have the full moon in Pisces on the 10th, the day right after, so those energies are going to be working together, hopefully in your favor. And then we have Mars going into retrograde in the sign of Gemini on October 30th, and it'll be going on through January 12th of 2023. Yes, there's several other planets going into retrograde now as well. Those are the planets that are further away. It doesn't mean that they're insignificant, but the planets like Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, all of those are always in retrograde for about half the year every year. So it does affect things if it's aspected to other planets, but for now I'm going to focus on the ones that are closer. And talk about some herbs and ways that you can make the most out of these retrogrades. And yes, I have a little notebook. I would not remember anything if I didn't write it down. So, about Mercury retrograde. What's a Mercury retrograde? How often does it happen? What's the scoop with that energy? So, Mercury goes into retrograde usually once every 3 to 4 months for about 3 weeks at a time. And the last time Mercury was in retrograde was May 10th through June 3rd of this year, so if it gives you an idea of what the energy was like with history repeating itself. And it's in Libra. Last time it went into retrograde in Libra was late September of last year through October, just so you kind of have an idea. So the common energy for Mercury retro is, the main part of it is communication. Mercury rules communication. It also rules the signs of Virgo and Gemini. There's a lot of people that complain about Mercury being in retrograde. A lot of people just have bad luck in general. It's usually with mostly petty things. A lot of electrical issues, a lot with computers. Computers is the main one. And just not being able to touch base with people, and communication is different than usual. There's delays in communication. You're waiting on a letter, you're waiting on an important document, and it's not showing up like or when it's supposed to, and it's getting on your nerves. Some positive signs or positive parts of the Mercury retrograde is it's a time to slow down, reflect, and reevaluate, especially in areas of communication. Maybe you're getting annoyed that people aren't getting back to you when you think they should, when never in a million years you would do the same thing to them. So you're kind of looking at that like, that's not cool. Stuff like that, you'll know what I'm talking about. And the weekday for Mercury is Wednesday, so crystals and herbs that you can work with are all things related to Mercury and Wednesday, which a lot of you don't know what in the world that is. So some common ones are FLUORITE. It's excellent for calming down mind clutter. It's great for organization and focus. It's calming, it's protective, and it's also related to the third eye. And I have some rainbow fluorite here. It usually has varieties of purples and greens in it, mostly. It's an excellent stone. If you're a beginner and you've never worked with crystals, fluorite is a good one. Another good one, this helps keep you grounded, helps keep you down to earth, is black tourmaline. Excellent grounding stone. It's protective, it helps kind of keep you down to earth when you're floating away with all the mind chatter. That's a great one for Mercury retrograde. And then as far as herbs and oils go, lavender and clary sage are some real good ones. They're very calming, good for communication, where it helps you kind of think before you speak, so you don't just pop off at the mouth, which, when I get into Mars retrograde, that's a big one for that. That's kind of funny. That's another part of Mercury retrograde. If somebody's been getting on your nerves, or there's a behavior that you didn't like about somebody close to you, it might be the time where you finally let it out and tell them. There's ways to go about it productively. Some of you may snap, but those are all possibilities. And also, Mandarin and Pine are good to work with the Mercury retrograde. Pine is protective, and if you didn't already know about, so humans vibrate on a certain frequency. Our energy is typically, I want to say it's at 173. I don't know what the unit of measurement is, but just for comparison. And there's big talk about rose oil and rose water, and that's because it's very high vibrational and vibrates somewhere in the 300s. So my point that I'm trying to get to with pine is specifically spruce. That's usually the fluffy ones everybody has in their front yard that you think of when you think Christmas tree. And that's known for being very protective. Spruce oil is the only oil that's more high vibrational than rose oil. Rose water, it's a real thing. If you get your hands on some, you can get a $10 bottle in the makeup section at Walmart, Target, whatever. Spray a little bit of it. It's very calming and just kind of puts you in a happy spot. So if you work with spruce oil, that vibrates somewhere in the 400s. That's the only thing that's higher vibrational than rose oil, so keep that in mind. And Mandarin is cheerful yet relaxing, and you need that if you're having a hard time during Mercury retrograde. So I think that's all there is that I can really say about that. If you are a cardinal sign, especially your rising sign, which would be Libra, Capricorn, Cancer, or Aries, you may be affected by this particular Mercury retro more than usual if you have a lot of any of those things in your chart, or if you have a history of having Mercury retrograde pick on you, then it's going to be you too if you already know that's your history. So then with that Pisces full moon that's following on the next day, it always happens when the sun is in Virgo. So anytime it's a full moon in Pisces, it's always going to be during late August or September. It's the full moon. Full moons in general is a time of harvesting, seeing your growth from what you were trying to manifest when the moon was new in that sign. So the moon was new in Pisces late February or March, so whatever seeds you planted them, check on those bad boys and see how they're doing. See if you're starting to see things manifest. The sign of Pisces has a lot to do with creativity. You may be having more vivid dreams and compassion. The negative sides of Pisces is trying to escape from reality, daydreaming too much, and substance issues. It's related to Neptune. Some of you may be getting called out on having issues with addictions becoming too strong. You know, a lot of us drink, a lot of us, whatever, party and whatnot, but sometimes it can become a problem, and you'll notice it coming to a head, usually around the full moon in Pisces, or someone might say something to you if that's the case, or you might be ready to say that to a friend if you think they need to hear it. If it seems like it won't do any good, leave it alone. And since Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and the full moon is about release, a lot of cycles are closing out. Some stones that you could work with for Pisces energy are amethyst. Most of you already know what amethyst looks like. That gets you in tune with the divine and the third eye. And it's also very refreshing in a room, and it does help with communication, even though it's not a throat chakra stone. Something about it just helps people relax enough to be open. Fluorite is a really good one to work with. I think fluorite's good for every sign. It's just good all around. Aquamarine. That one's a throat chakra stone. It's calming and also helps with communication. And Eye of Shiva shell. It's hard to see. It's actually a fossil of a shell. That has to do with the root chakra and also your third eye. I'm a Pisces, and I love how Aquamarine and Eye of Shiva shell work together in combination. I can't really describe it, but it makes it feel like you're at the beach or the ocean or the lakefront near a body of water during a full moon. It just has this magical energy to it that I really like. So then some herbs and oils that you can work with for Pisces energy is apple, vanilla, chamomile, ivy, and water lily is a big one for Pisces. And although lavender is typically associated with air signs and lavender and Pisces is water, there's something about the calming lavender energy that really works nicely with Pisces and also Cancer. Lavender is a great one for Cancers, that's for sure. So then we'll talk about some energy for Mars retrograde, and a really smart thing to do is when there's planets that go into retrograde, try to look up the history of when it last was in retrograde, and especially in that sign, and think, what was going on in my life at that time? What was my energy like? What was I manifesting? And that'll give you an idea for the general undertone of what energy to expect. So Mars goes into retrograde October 30th through January 12th. It'll be in the sign of Gemini, so if you have a lot of Gemini in your chart, this may affect you. Also, if you have a lot of Aries or Scorpio in your chart, because those two signs are ruled by Mars, this may affect you quite a bit as well. Mars retrograde in general, that'll get you if you've got Aries or Scorpio. It can really affect any sign, but those in particular in addition. So the last time we had a Mars retrograde was September 9th of 2020 through November 13th of 2020. So if you think back to what was going on then and what your energy was like, that might give you a clue. The last time Mars went into retrograde in Gemini was way back in January of 2008. Most of us don't remember, have any clue what was going on in 2008, except maybe the recession and that it sucked. So Mars is the planet of passion and energy. On the negative side, it's also rules over conflict and anger. There may be fights, there might be arguments. But if you have that zippy squirrel energy going on, you can make it a positive by using that energy to put it into positive things. Reflecting on how to direct that energy and that drive in a positive way. Blow-ups and tempers can flare. That's very common when there's something significant going on with Mars. And the day of the week for Mars is Tuesday, and the color is red. Some crystals and oils you can work with are bloodstone, which is, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's a form of jasper. It's also known as heliotrope, if I'm saying that right. Helio something. Well, it's green, and it usually has red speckles on it. Appearance-wise, I wouldn't have thought much of it. I have a lot of Aries in my chart, so maybe that's why. But something about bloodstone, it's very, very energizing. Even though it's a heart chakra stone, it feels a lot more solar plexus and root. That thing will give you energy, and it can give you the goofies and make you really hyper like a squirrel. So that's a really good stone to work with when there's Mars energy going on. Obsidian is a really good one. That one is one that you may want to do in small doses. It can be very intense for a lot of people. Although it's black and people associate it with the root chakra, It's also associated with the fire element and the solar plexus chakra, which has to do with willpower, sticking up for yourself, not taking any crap. That's a good way to work with Mars energy, of course, as long as you're not being too unnecessarily mean. Ruby, I don't have any ruby to show you except for this ruby and zoisite. It grows inside that stone, and that one gives you a lot of energy too. Ruby's a great one to work with. Also carnelian, that's a orange form of agate. I forgot to grab it, so sorry. But most of you know what carnelian looks like. And the herb is cinnamon. That's a good one. That's associated with Mars energy, Tuesdays, and the color red. Cinnamon's it's a great multi-use herb. You can burn some cinnamon incense, a cinnamon candle, work with cinnamon oil, food with it, dump it in your coffee. Coffee's another good one. So cinnamon is great for speeding up the manifestation process. It's very good for protection and good luck, definitely passion, and it can be used for love as well, or, to enhance things in the love department. Not you don't want to use it in a manipulative way, of course, but you know what I'm saying, just to enhance that area of your life. It's very multi-use. So that's about it for everything as far as Mars retrograde goes. So on to the horoscopes. See, I've done individual horoscopes for people by just doing an overview of what's going on in the sky for that month, but I've never gone through all 12 of the zodiac signs and lined it up with the houses, so this is the first time I'm doing it this way, and basing it on what the different houses are associated with, so y'all will have to just let me know if any of it clicked with you or resonated throughout the month of September and October. So it's best if you use your rising sign, and that's not your sun sign. Your sun sign is based on what your birthday is, what part of the year you were born. To find your rising sign, you do need to know your birth time because it changes every 2 hours, and it's different for every birthday of every year. So you'd have to go to an astrology website if you don't already know and put your info in with your birth time, all of your info, and then it'll tell you. A good one is astro.com, and it'll say Astro Deentist. I always forget I'll come back and edit the video and put the link in the description box below, because I always refer to that one. So anyhow, this will be based on your rising sign. If you don't know your rising sign or your birth time, you can go ahead and try to use your sun sign. I don't know if it's gonna work, but it's worth a try. So we'll get into that. So this will be based on the 3 major astrological events that I was just talking about. Mercury retro, full moon in Pisces, and the Mars retro. So anyhow, this will be for my Aries risings. This is for Aries risings, not Aries sun, but Aries rising signs. So Mercury going into retrograde in Libra, which falls in your 7th house, in combination with the full moon in Pisces in your 12th house, and Mars in Gemini that falls into your 3rd house. This is going to have these next couple months, you're going to see a lot of friendships and or relationships, cycles coming to a close, in connection to issues with communication. Maybe you were communicating more thoroughly with your person more than they were with you, to the point where it was out of balance and you didn't like it, so you're reevaluating it, thinking well, if they really cared that much or cared as much as I do, wouldn't they respond to me a little bit quicker or make as much effort as I am? Things like that, because the 7th house rules partnerships. It could also be friendships, and you're thinking things to yourself well, they did this, this, and this. I would never do that to them. Is this person really my friend? Are they really worth my energy? You don't necessarily want to be mean unless you have to, but I see you putting a lot less effort towards people that aren't giving the effort and energy to you. So that's a basic rundown of the common highlights for my Aries risings. So for Taurus risings, all of my Taurus risings, this is your reading. Not Taurus suns, but Taurus risings. So we've got the Mercury retrograde in Libra in your 6th house, which rules health. Also the full moon in Pisces in your 11th house, which rules friendships and your social circle, along with Mars going into retro in Gemini in your 2nd house, which rules your finances, your money, your values, what you put your values in. So I'm thinking that maybe you're trying to become healthier and it's harder because maybe you feel like your circle of friends hasn't been very supportive, or the opposite, where your circle of friends is concerned about your health and they're trying to encourage you and point out some things like, hey, I noticed you've been eating garbage food every day or pounding too many energy drinks. You know, and they might pick on you with love because they care about you, you know, and they want to see you healthy. That could be it, or it could be the other way around. And then with your 2nd house, you know, maybe you're eating like crap because you're overworking yourself and you're not setting aside the time to make some healthy goals. No one likes to hear that. You know, I don't know about you, but I eat what I want, I do what I want, and that's kind of how you feel, and now you're kind of reevaluating that, you know, and maybe doing a cleanup of your diet, or maybe trying new things, like maybe there's a new protein drink you like, or some new recipe that's healthy. Something along those lines is my general idea of what's going on for my Taurus risings. Well, next we've got our Gemini risings. For all my Gemini risings, this is for you, not Gemini sun, but if you're a Gemini rising, if you don't know your rising sign, you can try to go off the sun sign and see if it makes sense, but this is more for the Gemini risings. So we've got Mercury going into retrograde in Libra in your 5th house, which rules lighthearted fun, pleasure, children, feeling like a kid again, with the full moon in Pisces that's in your 10th house, which rules career, finances, and responsibilities. And then we've got the Mars going into Gemini that's in your 1st house. So there's a few things that I can guess about Gemini risings. The common highlight over the next couple of months is you're trying to balance out work and play and trying to make sure that you're hitting the career goals that you need and focusing your energy there, while at the same time saying, no, I need to take care of me and what's fun and pleasurable to me, hobbies, creative things. And then also with that Mars going into your 1st house, the 1st house rules the self, like the you do you energy kind of thing. Or you may be thinking about starting a family. And one of the things that's stressing you out is, how am I going to balance out work and my career with, you know, fitting in, trying to figure out starting a family. Well, you know what? You start that family when you want to start your family, and the rest will come later. Then you figure out your career and your finances. But of course, as human beings, we're all trying to be responsible. It's natural to fear the unknown, but you gotta do what's right for you. Hopefully that resonates with some of you. I could be totally wrong. So next, we've got our Cancer risings. This is for my Cancer risings. Not the sun sign Cancer, but if Cancer is your rising sign, this will be your horoscope. I might have said reading, but yeah, horoscope is what I meant. So with Mercury going into retrograde in Libra, that's in your 4th house, followed by the next day having that full moon in Pisces in your 9th house, along with the 12th house, with that Mars with Gemini. So your fourth house, the Mercury retrograde, that rules everything involving the home. It involves nurturing. It involves things involving the mother or yourself as a mother. And if you're male, you know, your nurturing side, trying to grow something. It could also be talking about your mother or a mother figure, some highlights around those areas. And the ninth house rules travel. And then the 12th house, that could be talking about a cycle coming to a close. The feeling that I get off of this is you may be changing homes or in the process of changing your home or your living situation. It looks like it's a happy, positive thing. You may be celebrating by planning some vacations, planning some travels. And, you know, with that 12th house meaning something coming to a close, your old place of living is closing out, and then you're starting that cycle of living in your new place. Or you might be entering a new chapter with something regarding your relationship with your mother or a mother-like figure. Those are the general highlights I've got for my Cancer risings. So we'll go ahead to my Leo rising. So if you are a Leo rising, not a Leo sun, but a Leo rising, this will be your horoscope. I would say this one is the most confusing compared to the other ones. So Mercury goes into retrograde in Libra in your third house. The third house rules communications. Go figure. Mercury retrograde is all about having trouble with communication. Poor Leo risings. No wonder they have trouble with Mercury retro. Every freaking one of them, I tell ya. So then the full moon falling in Pisces in your 8th house. The 8th house rules all the dark subjects of all things taboo. Deaths, the spiritual realm, and even sex. Which is kind of a weird combination that those things fall into the same house. I don't know why. I didn't make up the rules. And then we've got the Mars going into retrograde. That falls under your 11th house, which represents friendships and your social circle. So my guess is, with that combination of what's all going on, it's a weird one. So these are really unrelated and kind of strange, all because of that 8th house. So one of the problems could be you may have been having relations with somebody like in a physical sense, you know, like a booty call or whatever, whether they're the booty call or you are, or you both agreed to it. I think one person may have emotions attached and the other one doesn't, you know, and there may have been a lack of communication there, so that's gonna come up to the surface, and somebody might get upset that they thought that it meant more than it did. That could be what's going on. There could be a handful of people in your social circle that may have had some kind of major loss, like some deaths in the family, or, you know, maybe you had friends that passed away recently, or something's coming up about the subject of death. You or them are having a hard time about people passing away, where maybe it's that time of year where they passed however many years ago, like the anniversary of it, you know, and they're having a rough time because it's all hitting them again, or you. Something along those lines. Hopefully when all of the retrograde stuff is over, I mean, it doesn't mean that it's bad luck, but like if you're aware of what's going on, it can prevent crappy things from going so crappy if you catch it ahead of time. I don't really have anything else for my Leo risings. That's all I could come up with where your houses fall and what they rule. So we'll go ahead to my Virgo risings. So Virgo risings, not Virgo suns, but if you're a Virgo rising, this will be your horoscope for September and October. It's getting really warm in here, pardon me, I'm gonna turn my air conditioner on. Hey, maybe that's a sign. Maybe stuff's gonna be hot and heavy for you, and you'll have some good luck in September and October. I try to keep my air conditioner off because it makes a lot of noise and I don't like it in my videos, but when it gets too roasty in here, I can't help it, so I apologize for the noise. Anyways, so for my Virgo risings, if you are a Virgo rising, not a Virgo sun, but if your rising sign falls in Virgo, this will be your horoscope for September and October of 2022. So, with Mercury going into retrograde in Libra, it falls in your second house. You may be reevaluating your values, deciding what's valuable to you and what's not. You may be having self-worth issues, and there could be miscommunications, especially in your workplace. With that full moon in Pisces falling in your 7th house, that might be a positive thing in your love life. Maybe somebody that you started talking to in late February or March, you know, if you've already been in an established relationship for a long time, then maybe it's not talking about that, but, or with your partner you've been with for a while, maybe there was a conversation in late February, March that you were having, and now it's coming to fruition. I think September is going to be good luck for Virgo risings as far as love life is concerned. And then with Mars going into retrograde in your 10th house, which that rules career, and in combination with that Mercury being in your 2nd house, I think your love life is going to go really well, and as far as your career goes, it's up for re-eval. Maybe you're having a review and you might get a raise, or you might be thinking, yeah, I'm not really happy here, I think it's time to move on to something else as far as your job goes. So that's what I've got for my Virgo risings. We'll go ahead and move on to Libra risings. So if you're a Libra rising, not a Libra sun, but if your rising sign falls under the sign of Libra, this will be your horoscope for September and October of 2022. I apologize for the noisiness, it's too hot to not have my air conditioner running. So anyways, this Mercury retrograde coming up falls in your 1st house, which has to do with the self, and you know, the you do you kind of vibes, along with full moon in Pisces falling under your 6th house, and then you've got the 9th house that Mars will be going into retrograde in. So what I'm thinking is you maybe were hitting some goals as far as health and fitness goes, you're seeing it come to fruition. I think that a lot of you may have either lost weight or gained muscle or hit some kind of goal with your health. Maybe you changed your diet up, and I think that you might end up celebrating by taking a nice trip. Or you're planning on taking a trip, like maybe going hiking somewhere, you know, now that you're excited that your body can physically handle it, now that you made those changes to your health. Other than that, I don't really have much else for Libra risings. That's pretty straightforward and probably my shortest read. So then for my Scorpio risings, this is for my Scorpio risings, not Scorpio sun, but if you are a Scorpio rising, this will be your reading. Horoscope for September and October of 2022. So we have the Mercury in Libra going into retrograde in your 12th house, along with the full moon in Pisces that falls into your 5th house, and the Mars in Gemini going into retrograde that falls under your 8th house. I think that you are going to feel a sense of a weight being lifted. I think there's a lot of heavy things going on in your life right now, and will be over the next few months. And I think that after the end of the Mars retro, like going into January of 2023, you'll feel like a huge weight will be lifted and you'll feel very free. The 12th house has to do with the endings and closing out of a chapter. The 8th house has to do with all things that are a dark subject that are taboo. It could have to do with death, like there could have been a death. There could have been maybe an inheritance. It also has to do with sex, too. You know, like maybe you're ending a relationship and entering a new one. Maybe someone passed away recently and you don't know how to continue and move on. Something majorly heavy happened in your life. There was a huge shakeup. And I'm not gonna try to pretend that you're gonna feel all yippee skippy when, you know, you might not. But just know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel and you'll feel things start to lift for you. Hopefully sooner, but, you know, you'll start to really feel a great sense of freedom around January, February. And if that doesn't resonate or make sense for you, don't worry about it. Don't freak out and get scared like something's gonna happen. If that's the energy that's going on, you'll know it. So if it doesn't match, don't worry about it. So then, I'll go ahead and move on to my Sagittarius risings. So this reading, horoscope, will be for my Sagittarius risings, not Sagittarius suns, but Sagittarius rising. If your rising sign falls under Sagittarius, this will be your horoscope for September and October. So we've got the Mercury retrograde in the 11th house, in your 11th house, and then we'll have the full moon in Pisces following right after that lands in your 4th house. And then we've also got the Mars going into retrograde in Gemini in your 7th house. So, I think that you may be reevaluating your friendships with that 11th house, or more like they're revealing themselves. You're finding out who's showing up and who isn't, who's a true friend and who's not. With that full moon in Pisces, I think that something awesome is going to happen that has to do with your home, whether it's moving into a new place, completing a project that you were working on that has to do with your home that you've been really, really excited about. And I think with that Mars in Gemini, I think that October through January, things might be a little bit rocky with your partner, possibly. It doesn't have to be. But I think that tempers might flare easily, and just be mindful of that and just remember to be compassionate with each other. I mean, if they're an asshole, by all means, let them have it. But then again, if they're an asshole, you might want to reevaluate, is this what makes me happy, and is this where I want to be? So that's all I have. You may have even recently moved into a new home. I think I already said that. Anyhow, so that'll be it for my Sagittarius risings. And for my Capricorn risings, if your rising sign falls under Capricorn, not your sun sign, but I'm talking about your rising sign, for my Capricorn risings, this will be your horoscope for September and October of 2022. So we've got the Mercury retrograde that's in Libra that falls under your 10th house, which rules career and responsibility, along with that full moon in Pisces that's going to fall into your 3rd house, which rules communication, and Mars in Gemini that'll be in retrograde, starting in late October, that falls under your 6th house, which talks about your health. So what I'm getting is, maybe your health is taking a dump and it's related to something with work, and maybe not communicating, like, you know, I can't take on this heavy of a load, you know, why don't we do this way, so that it's more efficient and we get more done, but so that it's not breaking my neck and making me laid up the whole weekend. Something along those lines. Or maybe you're not communicating to other people that you've got a lot of responsibilities going on and you can't participate in all the unhealthy things that you're being invited to, or you yourself are in a fight with yourself, like, yeah, I know what I'm doing is unhealthy, you know, and you're kind of seeing the karmic results of it, and you're being kind of stubborn about it, which we're all human. I mean, when you're so used to doing things a certain way, change is hard. I don't know if that makes sense for any of you, for my Capricorn risings, but that's what I've got. Or maybe on a positive note, maybe something involving your coworkers. There's some kind of contest going on where you're all lighting a fire under each other's butts to try to compete in something that has to do with healthy physical activity, some kind of, exercising, and because you're being competitive with each other and jokingly poking fun, maybe it's encouraging all of you to get healthier. Something like that. Well, so that'll be it for my Capricorn rising horoscope. Alright, so this is for my Aquarius risings, not my Aquarius suns, but if your rising sign is in Aquarius, this will be your horoscope for 2022, not August, we're done with that, September and October of 2022. So the Mercury retrograde in Libra falls in your 9th house, which rules travel and wisdom. The full moon in Pisces falls under your 2nd house, which talks about values, finances, material things. And then that Mars in Gemini is going to be in retrograde in your 5th house. You know that it's time to be responsible, but you don't wanna. You're having too much fun. You wanna travel, you wanna drink, you wanna do all the things. But, you're having to crack down with responsibility, and you're trying to balance out money and making sure that you have enough cushion to be able to do all the fun things. Not what people want to hear. No one wants to be told that. So have fun, travel, do your thing. But just watch your finances and watch out for people who do not value you the way that they should. That's a big highlight for my Aquarius risings. So for my, that's a short one. That's, says it all in just a few sentences. So that's about all I have for my Aquarius risings. So for Pisces risings, not if you have the sun in Pisces, but if your rising sign is in Pisces, this will be your horoscope for September and October of 2022, possibly going into January of 23, depending on how things go. So that Mercury retrograde coming up falls in Libra, which falls under your 8th house, ruling all things dark and taboo, and of the, metaphysical realms, the underworld, things that have to do with death, also sex. So there might be something hidden going on, like maybe there's a secret that's brewing under the surface that's been bothering you. You've been feeling like something's been being hidden from you. Let that Mercury retrograde take right care of that. And then the full moon in Pisces falls under your 1st house, which has to do with self, the you do you kind of energy. Yeah, I mean, you're just, whatever this secret is that's being hidden from you, at first you wanted to be gentle about it and be cordial, and now you're like, no, like, I need to do what I need to do for myself and my own well-being. And then with Mars going into Gemini, that'll be falling under your 4th house, which has to do with the home. It has to do with either your mother or a mother figure. It has to do with family. It has to do with nurturing. Maybe you feel like a secret is being kept from you that involves something having to do with either your mother or a mother figure, and let me tell you, these next couple of months, it's gonna come bubbling to the surface, and you're gonna find out, whether it's a good or a bad thing. I hope it's a good thing. I don't mind the people on loud motorcycles outside. It sounded like a crotch rocket. Anyways, I live on the corner of a busy intersection, so you'll hear that. Anyhow, so whatever this secret is, or if you don't feel like there's a secret going on, then don't worry about it. This isn't for you. Maybe I'm not on point, but if there is, or you feel like something's being hidden, it's going to be revealed over the next couple of months, and it might have to do with your mother or a mother figure, or possibly even a pregnancy. not necessarily you that's pregnant, but maybe somebody close to you, or a secret that's around a pregnancy. That's gonna all come out. Whether it's good or bad, if it's initially bad, I mean, if it's the truth, it needed to come out in order to fix whatever was going on. So hopefully these horoscopes made sense for everyone. I've never done it this way before, so comment below, you know, if it makes sense for you, even if this comes up in a couple months from now, because you might not know yet, because it's kind of halfway into the future, you know. So we'll go ahead and do our pick-a-pile readings here. Just gonna set my little notebook to the side. Okay. So we've got 3 piles to pick from. We have 3 different crystals. Once I get better equipment, it'll be easy to see everything. So this will be your pile selection. So for pile 1, we have some fluorite here. For pile 2, we have ruby and zoisite. And for pile 3, we have bloodstone. So I will hold the stones up to the camera so you can see them a little bit better. So if you need to pause the video, and they're all kind of in the green family. So for pile 1, we've got the fluorite, pile 2, ruby and zoisite, and pile 3, bloodstone. Just gonna set these cards to the side here and drop it on the floor like a dunce. Alright, pile 1, if you chose the fluorite, we have the ethereal illuminated deck here. This will be your reading if you chose pile 1 and the green fluorite here, or actually it's rainbow. So we'll get a few shuffles here and we'll find out what's going on for pile 1. And at the end, we also will pull a few oracle cards. Alright, this one popped out of the deck here. We've got the Ten of Pentacles in the reverse. And for overall energy, we've got the Wheel in the reverse. Followed by the Knight of Pentacles. And we've got the Ace of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups, King of Cups in the reverse. Wow, we've got a lot of kings and queens here. And the King of Wands. So I feel like there's some kind of unfinished business between you and this person that's on your mind. Because we have the Wheel in the reverse here. And with the Ten of Pentacles in the reverse, like, you feel like there was supposed to be, like, a happily ever after, and it didn't end up going the way that you thought. With this Knight of Pentacles, maybe this person was very, very slow moving, and it was hard to tell, well, are they taking things slow, or are they not interested? could also be talking about an earth sign, which would be Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. And then, since we have the Ace of Pentacles here, that's talking about new beginnings as far as career and finances go, and possibly with your health. And I feel like this person that was on your mind, maybe you didn't feel chemistry with them because you felt like they checked all the boxes, like they were responsible, they did all the things, but you just didn't feel that spark, you know, and or maybe like you almost felt like they were kind of boring to you, but they do want a new beginning with you. And then with that Queen of Cups, you do have emotion for them, but you just weren't really feeling that spark. And because we've got the King of Cups in the reverse, I feel like maybe they don't know how to express emotion as much as you would like, and I do think that with this King of Wands here, you are going to feel that spark, but it's just going to take a little bit of time. So as long as they're treating you right and your gut tells you that, you know, they're not going to hurt you, I would go ahead and let it play out. I mean, if you know that it isn't going anywhere, obviously don't lead somebody on, but you know, I would stick with it and see how it goes if your gut is telling you to do so. And we've got the Justice card in the reverse, followed by the Four of Cups in the reverse. Or maybe this is somebody that you view as a missed opportunity, like, you feel like you misjudged the situation, like, you wrote them off as, you know, maybe they weren't a match, and now you're thinking back to it like, you're seeing them in a different light and thinking, oh, maybe this could work after all. So what happened between you and this person in the recent past here? Eight of Swords in the reverse, and the Queen of Swords. So I think that you made an intellectual decision about it. You were thinking mentally more than emotionally. And with that Eight of Swords in the reverse, I think maybe you might have even felt a little trapped. So you drew your energy back from the situations, you felt more free and not trapped, and now that you've had a minute to step back and look at the situation with fresh eyes, you're having second thoughts, like maybe it will work out with this person. Alright, well, what's gonna happen in the near future? Let's get to the point and find out, well, will it? Five of Cups, followed by the Four of Pentacles in the reverse. I think that either you feel like that person took advantage of you, or maybe they feel like you took advantage of them, even though you weren't, and you probably didn't take advantage of them on purpose. Maybe that's how they felt, you know, because you weren't reciprocating the energy, you know. Are they gonna revisit this again with you? We've got the Queen of Pentacles. It'll be slow moving, but yes, they will. We've got the Devil in the reverse, so there might have even been some kind of temptation or addiction of some sort, whether it's an addiction to a toxic cycle or possibly substances. My feeling is you, unknowingly, in your subconscious, you were possibly addicted to toxic cycles, not because you're weird and you like things that are bad for you, but because you've experienced so many of them, it became the norm for you. And it's like, if it's too quiet, you wonder, well, what's going on? Something's missing. Because you haven't experienced a peaceful situation in a long time. So when you do have a situation that's healthy and peaceful, you don't know what to do with yourself, because the chaos is familiar to you, and there's a comfort in sadness. As weird as that sounds, I think that's what you're conflicted with, and what's preventing this from moving forward the way that you both want it to. So what action is this person gonna take towards this situation? So we've got the Sun in reverse, and we have the Seven of Pentacles. So I think that they're gonna step back for a minute, but they're gonna come back out. Like, the Sun reversed is about the sun hiding behind the clouds, but it's letting you know the sun will shine again. So they drew their energy back a little bit, but if they see that you're putting a little bit of effort towards it and that you want to make this work, I think that they are willing to work on this again. And then, you know, because you've got that Seven of Pentacles, that's about enjoying the fruits of your labor, and you're gonna be proud of yourself for being with somebody stable instead of repeating the same cycle that you've been stuck in. And they're gonna be proud that they got somebody as good as you. Like, you'll both be happy and enjoy your relationship and be happy that you both put the work into it that you did, and you'll be happy that you both took your time. You know, like, saying stuff like, oh, I wish we would have been together sooner. Well, you weren't together sooner, because if you would have gotten together sooner, neither of you would have been the people that you currently are today, and you wouldn't have had that growth to be on that matching vibrational level. Like, in other words, y'all wouldn't have been mature enough to handle it. It's like, you have a Ferrari. It's like giving someone a Ferrari who doesn't know how to drive, and then they try to drive it, and it ends up crashing. Well, if they wait until they get their license and experience with a rear-wheel drive car that makes your cheeks flap like a basset hound in the wind, and they've had a minute to, you know, learn how that car is going to handle, well, then they're a different person than they were at that time they would have tried to drive it before, or whatever, change it to a 71 Cuda with a 426 Hemi, I don't give a shit. So anyways, is there anything else that you can tell me for pile 1? Sorry, that was loud. I didn't mean to let the cards fall like that. I just got excited. Anything else for pile 1? So we've got the Page of Wands, followed by the Nine of Cups in the reverse, and the High Priestess. Why did I giggle about the Page of Wands? Some of you maybe put off this more stable relationship because you were tempted by someone that's more charming. They may or may not be a partier, but they're one of those people that, like, just kind of, like, they're super duper friendly and, like, charming, and they have that fire to their personality, but they, don't necessarily think of you as, like, their number one, or if they do, they don't have what it takes to have that, stability to give you all the things that you deserve, but you know, you were tempted by them. You know, like how some girls, like, there's a guy that treats them good and then one that's an asshole and they always fall for the asshole for whatever reason. Kind of a situation like that. But just because you were tempted doesn't mean you're gonna go for it. It's just saying, aha, I see what you did. And the Nine of Cups in the reverse, the reason why you were going for people like that, whether you're male or female, gender doesn't matter, it's the energy. You know, the reason why you would go for those people like that is with the Nine of Cups reversed, that's the codependency card, meaning you weren't emotionally independent enough yet at that time. And it's like addictions, like to drugs and anything else. You're addicted to trying to be the fix-it person. You were addicted to try to save people. You were addicted to seeing the potential and the hope in a situation versus what exactly is right in front of your face. Oh, well, he forgot to call and, you know, he forgot about me, or whatever the case is, or oh, he was flirting with this other person. Oh, but I can see that once he does this or once he does that, he'll be a really good guy, and, you know, I see potential that he could be stable and whatever. You're addicted to looking at that potential, and I think what happened is you finally broke that addiction, so you're attracting a whole different type of person into your life, and now that you're attracting people that are more stable, that, you know, actually treats you right, you don't know what to do with yourself because you're not used to it, so it might take you some time to absorb all the info coming at you. And with that High Priestess, you're just backing up and being quiet because you just don't know what to think right now. So let's get some oracle cards for pile 1. Oh, and one of them fell out onto the table when I picked it up, so this, I'm sure, has significance. So, full moon in Scorpio. So, that could have to do with something in late April or May that was started, or something's going to come to fruition this coming April or May. There's some significance with April or May. They also could have Scorpio somewhere significant in their birth chart, or you could. It doesn't have to be, but that's more verification that this is the reading that's for you. So we'll see what else we have for pile 1's oracle here. Oh, this is a good one. This is my favorite Tupac quote. You can spend, so this is for my overthinkers especially. You can spend minutes, hours, days, weeks, or even months overanalyzing a situation, trying to put the pieces together, justifying what could have and would have happened, or you can just leave the pieces on the floor and move the fuck on. Sometimes you don't get closure about a situation. Sometimes you can just make that choice to be like, I don't care what the truth is, I don't care what gets found out, this is bullshit, I'm moving on, it doesn't even matter anymore. You know, like, people don't always get closure, and actually 9 times out of 10, you don't. But if you are not happy for whatever reason, and it was time to move on, you don't need closure to move on, you don't need a reason to move on. And sometimes the truth will pop up and find you later when you're not expecting it, years later, after you don't care anymore. That seems to be a common thing here. We've got a full moon in Taurus, late October or November. You or them could have Taurus somewhere significant in your birth charts, or there could be something about that time of year that there's an event coming up, something happened. Late October, November. If it's for you, you'll know what I'm talking about. We'll get one more. So that's another timeline card, late July or August. You or them could have Leo somewhere significant. I just want another message versus a timeline. That's another timeline. Stop making such a big deal out of me. I'm just a human. I think it's talking about that, like, charming dude, you know, like, you think that he's better than he really is, and he's not, he doesn't have, or she, they don't have as much depth to them, or anything special as much as you think, so if they weren't treating you right, you really didn't lose out on much. So, that's my reading for pile 1. We'll go ahead and move on to the reading for pile 2. Alright, pile 2, if you chose the Ruby and Zoisite, this will be your reading. We have the White Sage Tarot. So this will be our reading for pile 2. We'll get a few shuffles and see what's going on for you. Alright, so right off the bat, a few cards flew out of the deck, so I'll read those first. Alright, so we've got for pile 2 here, we've got the 8 of Pentacles with the Page of Pentacles in reverse. And we've got the Empress. So, you could be dealing with an earth sign, possibly, which would be Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, or you could be. It doesn't have to be, but if, you know, if that lines up for you, it's a sign, you know, just more verification. So the 8 of Pentacles, that's all about becoming the master of your craft. Some of you might be in school right now. You may have recently got promoted or got a new job, something that's a step up involving career. And then we've got the Empress, that's, you know, trying to grow something. Maybe some of you might be trying to start a business. Whether you're male or female, with that Empress card, you're coming into your power, you're growing something, and you're nurturing something. And with that Page of Pentacles in the reverse, you might have people around you that have been irresponsible with money, and you're trying not to reveal too much about your money because you don't want them taking advantage of you. And we've got the 3 of Wands. Ooh, and we've got the 5 of Swords in the reverse and the 4 of Swords. So I think a lot of you took a step back and you're hibernating. I feel like there was a lot of gossip and a lot of drama, and you might have found out that somebody was talking shit about you. Something along those lines. You know, with the 5 of Swords in reverse, you know, it means that that conflict has ended. Probably because you walked away from it and went into hibernation with that 4 of Swords. So you're walking away from that group that's full of drama, whether it's a workplace or an old friend group, and you're focusing on your work or possibly your school, something that's related to your career. Focusing on career and stepping back from this group of toxic people, whoever it may be. We've got the Devil in the reverse and the Tower in the reverse. Yup, you recently just came down of like the crumbling of a structure. So there was some kind of like huge blow up that happened, or, you know, your world came crumbling down and you just came out of that. It also might have involved coming out of some kind of temptation like substances, or maybe you might even be dealing with some kind of manipulative person. And what happened in the recent past? So we've got the Sun, and then the Hierophant in the reverse. So you went against tradition in some way, and you're seeing all that there is to see that's positive about it. You were kind of afraid to make a certain decision because it's, you know, maybe it's taboo to the people around you, and you said, hell with what they think, I'm gonna do what I want, I need to take care of me. And what's gonna happen in the near future for pile 2? We've got the 9 of Wands followed by the Knight of Cups. So, with that Knight of Cups, I just have to show you it, it's so cute. It's a little otter with a tiny cup of hot chocolate or a coffee. Some of these have, this particular deck has really cute animals in it. I feel like this month you might be starting a new relationship, possibly. Or someone wants to offer you something on an emotional level, like maybe a new relationship or new offer is coming towards you. In the near future, like this month I see. And how do you view yourself? I think you just came out of rock bottom and you have a lot of anxiety because you're really, really scared of going back there again. Like, whatever situation you just came out of, you're deathly afraid of it repeating somehow. Like, same asshole, different body. You know, like, whether it's with the relationship or you're afraid of going to a new job because what if it's the same crap again? You're deathly afraid of that. Like, that's giving you the biggest anxiety right now. And people around you see you as, so we've got the Chariot coming into your power by moving away from something, and then the Three of Swords in the reverse. So a lot of this may have involved some kind of betrayal that you came out with, which makes sense because if you had the Five of Swords in the reverse and then you've got the Three of Swords, you know, that might involve, you know, gossip and smack talking, things like that. So if there is a new person coming towards you, what action do they plan on taking? We've got the King of Cups, followed by the Queen of Cups. Wow. Okay, so this person definitely does have emotion for you, and I do think that the two of you are going to come together. And in order for the two of you to come together, all of this drama and all of these blow-ups with whatever that's not related to them, that needed to happen first to clear the BS out of there so you'd both be ready for each other. That's why it was delayed. If you were in a situation where, you know, things were delayed with getting a start on whatever relationship you were entertaining, that might be why. One of you or both of you had drama going on in your lives or something that needed to be cleaned up and sorted out first before you could come together. So that all looks like a good sign. And then what outcome can I get for pile 2? So we've got the Eight of Wands in the reverse, that's delayed communication, and then we've got the Magician. Like, that's... The Magician is one of the best cards you can get, in my opinion. All of them are. They all hold their own power, but the Magician is very transformative. It's all about alchemy. It's the balancing of all 4 elements, you know, and you're very resourceful. And you're turning a crappy situation into a good one, and you're seeing the good out of all of this. So even though there may be a delay in communication between you and this person for a little bit, I think that that is the time to just get more stuff done of things that you wanted to be, like, all set in place before you start something new. I think it's looking good as far as your love life goes, pile 2. Alright, so that'll be it for pile 2. We'll go ahead, actually, we'll get some oracle cards for pile 2 here. So we have full moon in Gemini, late November or December. Either you or them could have Gemini somewhere significant in your chart. It doesn't have to be, but all it is just adds more verification that that could mean it's for you. Or that time of year could have some significance. So either something was started in late November or December, some type of event happened, or there's an upcoming event, or something will happen that's significant involving this situation in late November or December. You'll know if it's you, and if you don't know right now, then it might be something in the future for you, pile 2. I think about you more than you know. So maybe this person, you know, that's on your mind, maybe they're not showing their emotions, but they're probably thinking about you a lot. And we've got full moon in Sagittarius late May or June. You or them could have Sagittarius somewhere significant in your chart, or there could be some significance to that time of year, late May or June, whether it's a past May or June or one in the future. Let's see, what else do we have? You're the only one I'd let get away with stealing my favorite chair. Yeah, this person definitely has emotion for you. So that'll be it for pile 2. We'll go ahead and move on to pile 3 now. Alright, pile 3, so if you chose the Bloodstone and the Tarot of Dreams, this will be your reading. We'll get a few shuffles here and we'll see what's going on for pile 3. Too many. Alright, pile 3, so this card came out of the deck. We have the Temperance in the reverse. Some of you could be dealing with a Sagittarius. See what else we've got here. We've got the Knight of Cups in the reverse for overall energy, along with the Ten of Cups in the reverse. It looks like you may be dealing with somebody who's emotionally immature and possibly has some anger issues. You might be dealing with somebody that has a lot of Pisces in their chart or Sagittarius. Could be you or them. Let's see what else it says here. I think you might have just recently left this person. You took a leap of faith with that, with the Fool card here. And we've got the Ace of Swords in the reverse, along with the Moon. So someone is definitely, most definitely, holding back communication from you on purpose. And in your distant past, let's see, we've got the Queen of Wands in the reverse here with Judgment in the reverse. You may have been treated unfairly, or an unfair decision was made that possibly had to do with a fire sign female, which is Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. I really feel like it's a Sagittarius, because we've got that Temperance card in reverse, so that kind of... Yeah, I'm getting Sagittarius and Pisces are the main signs showing up in this deck here, possibly air. So we've got the Palace of Coins and the Two of Cups in the reverse. Yeah, with that Two of Cups in the reverse, I feel like there was a breakup that happened, and it may have had to do with a trip somewhere, possibly somewhere that had mountains, with that Palace of Coins here. I have no idea what it's talking about or what that could even be about, but that's what I'm getting. We've got the Knight of Wands in the reverse, followed by the King of Coins. So there's I got something similar to this in pile two's read. So there's this charming dude that, you know, is kind of like the life of the party, is real lovey-dovey to everybody, you know, who kind of flirts and acts like they like you, but their energy is spread all over the place, so they're not, someone that I would see actually committing, but they charm you into thinking that they totally would. But then you've got this other person that's the King of Coins that is somebody that's more stable, but that comes off to you like kind of boring at first. Like, they check all the boxes, they have all the things that they want, but you just don't exactly feel that spark with them yet. So let's see, what else do we have here? And how do you view yourself in this situation? We've got the Knight of Swords. And we've got the Seven of Wands in the reverse. I think that you want to go towards those people with communication. I think that you're trying to communicate with Mr. Flirty Pants who's not communicating back. But maybe you shouldn't put so much energy into that person if they're not giving it back to you. And it could be a female, like, gender doesn't matter. And then with that Seven of Wands here next to the King of Coins, I think you've got scattered energies and you feel, you know, really confused right now. We've got the Page of Cups followed by the Palace of Swords. I think somebody's going to invite you on a trip somewhere. And I would do it. You don't know if you want to take this trip or not. I would take that trip. And whoever this person is that wants to go on this trip with you, or go somewhere with you, they might have water somewhere significant in their chart. Pisces, Scorpio, or Cancer. And wherever it is, this trip that they want to go, it's Palace of Swords, so that has to do with the air element. Could be something involving birds, something involving clouds. It doesn't have to be, but I think you're a person that travels a lot. I'm definitely getting that off of your energy. And what is there any kind of outcome for pile 3? We've got the Knight of Coins, followed by the Ace of Coins in the reverse. I think because somebody's being too slow moving, you might be tempted to give up on the connection. Well, then just stay friends with them and see where it goes. If it's meant to be, you'll know. And what else for pile 3 here? Five of Wands. So we've got conflict, followed by the Five of Coins. I think somebody felt left out in the cold, or left out somehow, and they said something about it, or they're gonna say something about it, and it might lead to an argument or a little bit of conflict, possibly. And then we've got the Eight of Coins, which has to do with becoming the master of your craft. So you might, like, have fun and take some trips and then put your nose back to the grindstone. I'm kind of confused by this reading for pile 3, to be quite honest. We've got the Three of Swords, Betrayal, followed by the Four of Coins. Somebody might be hoarding, or, like, greedy with their energy, or greedy with their time. Pile 3, you have a lot going on, and you're talking to too many people at once. And we've got the Palace of Wands. The Palace cards are all about trips and landscapes. I think that something significant for you has to do with a trip that you took, or trips that you're going to take. And it doesn't have to be real far away, like going to a place. I don't know what it's trying to tell me. Sorry, pile 3, I wish I had more for you. Let me get some oracle cards for pile 3. I might be running out of steam. That might be the problem. I don't know if your reading is confusing, or I'm just not as on point as usual. Because it does take energy to do readings, and then, you know, towards the end, it's not as fresh as it was in the beginning. That'll get better, though. Just need to do these more, and it'll get better. Alright, pile 3, so this flew out of the deck. We have new moon in Capricorn, late December, January. Either you might have Capricorn somewhere significant in their chart, or they could. Also, late December or January could be a significant time of year that has to do with your situation. You'll know it better than I do. We've got full moon in Taurus. You or them could have Taurus in your chart somewhere significant. Late October or November could also be an important time of year that has to do with this situation. All these timeline ones, new moon in Virgo, late August or September, or Virgo somewhere in the chart. I'm gonna skip any timeline ones, because that's too many. I'll just go to messages here. When we make eye contact, your gaze is electrifying. I can feel it throughout my veins. Or is it the caffeine? I'm not sure, but I love your eyes. I don't know who that's for, if it makes sense, but hopefully it was funny at least. One of you needs to speak up. And, you are deep-fried sunshine on a stick. New moon in Taurus. I hope you go to that party or event. And cat guys are hot. It's not him though, it's a different cat guy. So I don't know if any of these messages are making any sense for you, pile 3, but if something makes sense and fits your story, you'll know, and if it doesn't, I hope at least you laughed. Alright, so that'll be the end of my horoscopes and tarot reads for September and October of 2022, and yes, I'll be making a lot more videos before the end of October. So I hope you all have a great rest of your night, and have a good time trying to survive Mercury retrograde that doesn't even sound good. I hope that this Mercury retrograde doesn't suck as bad as most Mercury retrogrades do. Well, have a great night and a great rest of your week. Thank you for watching.